how did they spend their leisure time? They didn't have any leisure time.
I disagree.
They're very happy in their life.
I think they're happy in their lot. They've got to have a whinge, but I really don't think they change it for the world. They don't really want to go out and work. They don't want to change their lifestyle. I think this is the point.
It's easy for us to say we're bored with women's lib because we're in an unfortunate position where if we want to go out and do an art course or whatever it is, we can afford to have a babysitter in, you know, and we can do it. But there are people in this country that can't afford it, and women's lib is important for them.
Alas, the common sight of Australia's lady bowlers says much about the myth of rugged individualism. For bowling, with all its relentless gentility, is the most popular sport in Australia. The ladies must not step onto the green if their skirts are a fraction higher than 15 inches from the ground. And I've seen with my own eyes vigilant guardians of these matters whip out a tape measure and inspect a questionable skirt. Nothing disconcerting must occur here, I was told by a lady in charge. She might well have been talking about Australia. The West End pub in Balmain, Sydney, a typical ochre fortress, where the likes of lady bowlers dare not enter, and some of the customers will do everything short of unzipping their flies to show what Fendingham blokes they are. I asked the publican, Frank Savage, if the Barry Mackenzie films about the celebrated Earl's Court slob were fair to ochres.
What is true and what is untrue about that?
Well, I think that's surely extreme, isn't it? You know, it's been made extreme to make it a seller. It's a film, and you're selling it to the public, and you know, it's been stretched. There's the other end of the stick where you've got you know, a very quiet little gentle Australian that doesn't say boo, and in the middle is the mass. I think one thing Australia has got, and it always will have, hopefully, is that great middle mass. And I think this is probably sets it aside from every other country that I've certainly been to, is that there's a bulk of humanity stuck in between the low 10 and the high 10, and that 80% is a very good thing.
The great middle mass, as Frank Savage calls them, are subjected to more media manipulation than will be tolerated in many countries. The Australian media, especially television and advertising, are so contemptuous of their audience that the manipulation is usually obvious and crude. All the way from Buck Off Bill to a remarkable piece of McCarthyite propaganda that went out as a TV commercial in 1974 in an attempt to smear the new Labour government as communist. It says much for Australian society that the smear backfired and, in fact, helped to re-elect the government.
I'm Mrs. Hedla. I come originally from Estonia, a Baltic state. I escaped about 30 years ago when the Russians took over my country for the second time. I have lived enough under communist regime